Hey guys, William Murfitt here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another video. Now today I won't be working at any of the minis. What I will be doing is replacing the rear discs and pads on a 67 plate Ford Kuga. Now this Kuga has a electronic handbrake, which I've never actually had any dealings with previously, so it could be quite fun. So I'm going to go to the car, I'll show you what the vehicle is, we can have a look around and show you how to deactivate and then reactivate your service mode for the brakes. Going to get the car up in the air, get the wheels off, get the discs off, get the new discs on, and ready for a test drive really. So let's get cracking. The car in question, this belongs to my parents. The 67 plate Ford Kuga. It's an ST line, 4-wheel drive. Very nice looking car. It's got alloy wheels, discs all round, and yeah, it's just really nice. So I'm a big fan of this. It's got like a pearlescent paint to it, bit of a fleck on it. On the inside, like in the back first, it's got like a black leather and Alcantara seats. So what I need to do is to protect everything, I've put a seat cover in. So let's get in and have a look and see how we can activate this service mode. So you don't need the key for this, but I do have the key in my pocket. So this is a push button start car with the I can't think what the name of it is, but you don't have to have the key. It's a keyless entry. It's pretty straightforward. So in order to get this car into service mode, so I don't want to lose these fingers, but what I do want to do is make sure that the car is going to be safe to work with, and also, you know, it's not going to prevent any damage to the vehicle, myself or other users. So nice straightforward one really. Ignition on. We'll see all the lights come up on the dashboard then. I then apply my foot to the accelerator pedal and then push the handbrake pedal down. Now that is effectively applying the handbrake. Now what I do now is with one hand, I'll switch the ignition off, wait within 5 seconds, switch the ignition back on. I don't put anything else on any pedals. Park brake maintenance mode. Wait for the noises to stop. And there we have it. Park brake maintenance mode. Click OK. Release my foot. And there we have it. So this orange light down here, that is the warning to tell me that I'm in maintenance mode. I've got the red eye in the middle, which warns me that there is something wrong with the car. Something wrong being the fact that it is in maintenance mode. It shouldn't be driven like this. I haven't touched the brake pedal, I haven't touched the clutch pedal. All I've done is put my foot on the accelerator and push down on the handbrake. So now we're ready to work on the vehicle. So I get the car jacked up, secured under axle stands, and then we can get started. So I'm going to do one side at a time, just for ease. I've got my locking wheel up, so let's get going. Now obviously with the handbrake de-adjusted or inactivated, I've left the car in gear so it doesn't move forward. But I've also put some bricks underneath the front wheel to stop it from rolling as well. Right then, to get started, I've got my discs and pads. I'll get some copper grease in a minute just to put on those. I've got my torque wrench, I've got a breaker bar, I've got some pipe wrenches, and I've got my impact socket, or my impact gun, a 19mm socket, and the locking wheel nut. So have a look at, also my jack. Look, see where the jacking point is on the seal. I don't know if you can see that at all. There's an arrow here which suggests that is the best place to jack it. So you go underneath and you can see here, just behind the plastic seal, there is a bar which is reinforced to jack the vehicle. Right, so the wheel's off. You can see the reasons why we're changing these discs. They are very bad, and I think in the inside they're even worse. So to get the caliper off, they've got two covers or caps to go over these, the Allen key bolts. So I've taken the caps off already, and I get an Allen key socket in there. That will then remove the whole caliper. Have a retaining pin as well. That will need to be removed before the caliper gets pulled off. The caliper will just pull off. Then with that, the caliper carrier will then get removed. The disc will come off, the new disc goes on, the caliper carrier goes back on, the pad's in, the caliper back on, all bolted back up, re-secured, wheel back on. So, it's pretty straightforward really. Actually probably one of the straightforwardest jobs I think there are, if you take the handbrake mechanism out of the equation. So let's get them bolts done and then we can get the disc off. I've got a 7mm Allen key for the top bolts, and I've got a 15mm socket for the caliper carrier bolts. So these get unwound all the way. With them unwound, they can the caliper carrier can be removed. I just have to get a flat blade screwdriver to get this retainer off. So with the flat blade screwdriver, just literally get this in. I'm going to pull this pin out of the hole. Once one pin's out, the other one should just wiggle free. Bit of encouragement. That's now off. That top pin is out. Top bolt's out. Bottom bolt's out. So with bolts out, I should be able to just move this back and forth and work it. You can see it's lifting out. I mean, sometimes you may need to get a bit of encouragement in there, in the use of a lever, just to get the thing going. Once it starts, and it comes all the way off, like so. So I'll need to push this caliper back, or this piston. Here, that'll need to go back into the housing, otherwise the new pads will not fit. But for now, just locate that there, and you can see there's not a lot of pad left on that inner one. So I'm really pleased I'm changing these. With the caliper off, the next we have to do, I'm going to show how well it's going to come out, but there's a bolt here, and there's a bolt down here as well. Those two have to come out to remove this caliper carrier. The carrier off, give a little tap on the front of the disc, and that will come off as well. So I'm probably going to have to put the camera down for that, but you can see 1 bolt, 2 bolt, 15. 2 bolts out the back, so that now lifts off. I'm going to give this a bit of a clean with a wire brush just to make sure there's no dirt, debris, and everything can move freely on it. Now that feels pretty solid on there, so I'm just going to get a hammer and tap onto the hub. With the hub tapped, it should hopefully just dislodge everything here. And failing that, because the disc isn't getting reused again, I can hit on the back of the disc to move it forward. The only thing I would say is if you're doing this, make sure you don't hit the studs. And that's off. There you go. I'm just giving this a bit of a clean on the hub. It's obviously not turning because I'm in gear. But I put the new disc on. I put a bit of copper grease on here, so the next time this disc comes off, it probably won't get as stuck as it did this then. And then I'm gonna start rebuilding it back up. So these are the old discs, These are the new ones. There's a pretty significant difference. These are a Brembo brake. So we've got Brembo discs, Brembo pads, and yeah, this was the option from Car Parts for Less, or Euro Car Parts as well, that had the electronic handbrake on the rear. I think they're a 320mm disc. So yeah, it's quite a nice size. We're going to fit it up, and should be able to stop the car once it's once it's back on then. Oh, much better. I've cleaned up in the grooves where the pads will sit. So that's much better than it was before. They're full of like dirt and grime and dust and all sorts. So these can now get bolted back onto the to the car. But then bolted back on, I can push the piston back and I can put the new pads in, put the caliper back on, and this side's complete. Right, next to do is to push this piston back. So you can get wind back tools, but I'm going to try and use the approach of using some grips. So I'm going to go onto this head of the bolt and onto the piston, and hopefully that will be able to be enough to be able to push it back. So applying light pressure, you can see the piston is going back in slowly, which is great. That's now pushed all the way back in. You can see the piston here was down here and now it's all the way to the top. So, new brake pads. Pads are the same, just the only difference is one has a spring. On the back of them, they've got a 3M pad which you remove the sticker, and that then obviously adheres to the surface of the caliper and the piston. I'm going to put a bit of copper slick in where my finger is, and the other side where it's going to slide back and forth on the carrier. So that's going to be on there, so that when that goes in and then applying the brakes, they can slide freely back and forth along here. So I'm going to do that. So all this video today has been filmed on my phone because I've left my camera and my GoPro at work. So it's pretty difficult to do, but hopefully I'm going to get the point across what I'm trying to achieve, and all being well, if you're looking at doing this job yourself, you can have a go and take part, and as long as you follow the steps, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, brakes are a big safety thing, so you just need to make sure you are confident and capable of doing them, because the last thing you want is for the brakes to fail as a result of, I don't know, something not tight enough, or something that could have been resolved, missed. With brakes, it's mostly about confidence. Turn that sticker off. Okay, so they now move nice and freely up and down. The caliper can go back on, which may be difficult while we're one-handed. There we go. So the spring sits underneath here and underneath here, and that obviously stops that rattling around as well. I'm just going to put a bit of copper grease on these Allen key bolts, because they're a little bit tight to come in and out. And once that's in, the top button bolts can be done, tightened down, check everything over, the retaining pin gone in, bit of copper grease on the studs, and the wheel back on. So the bolts are now tight. The caliper carry bolts are tight as well. We'll put this retaining pin in so it goes in one hole. Now it goes in a bit of an angle, and then the other one can get aligned up. And you can just spring it round. It's much easier to do with two hands, that's for sure. Let's get this. There we go. So you see it's pushed in the hole, sprung around, and just give it a bit of a tap using a old knocking stick. There you go. Located, secure, located and secure. The caliper is now nice and solid. So the caliper carrier, the pads, the disc and the caliper and the retaining pins are all now reinstalled. Put a bit of grease around here. I like just to do it where the wheel's going to mount on. And then a bit on the threads. Some people are opposed to this, but it's just what I've always done, the way I was taught when I did my apprenticeship. So fine. Right, wheel back on, wheel nuts torqued up or tightened down for now. I'll go across to the other side and then blitz that one. Okay, so both sides are done. New disc, new pads. I forgot to put the caps on the back of the caliper, so just got underneath and put them back on. All the wheels are torqued up. Got the locking wheel nuts to go back into the car. So now we are still currently on park brake mode. So no key detected. Where have I put that? Got him. Right, the last thing to do then. Go for a road test. So the rear brakes are all replaced. The service light's been reset by doing the opposite of how to put it on. So ignition on, foot on the accelerator, pull up on the lever of the brake lever. Then ignition off, hold with it for within the 5 seconds, press it back on, keep hold of the pedal and the lever, and then the system will flash up. Now, my system said deactivated, but the light was still on. I then started the car and applied my foot to the brake pedal and it went off. I'm not sure if that's the way it's supposed to work. I tried to redo the cycle so I can film it, and I can't seem to get the maintenance mode back on. So I'm gonna give it a test drive. If I can, I will put this in. If not, then that is the way to do it. But yeah, other than a test drive, I'm gonna call this job done, and I will thank you for watching. And I'll see you guys next time. If you have enjoyed this content, as always, please consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. It really means a lot to me, and I really enjoy making this content and stuff for you. Leave a thumbs up, comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.